Right, okay. Let's have a look at where we are then, shall we? Let's start with my sock. So I did little bits over the weekend. Yesterday being my kind of like shift changeover day. Obviously, I spent most of the day dozing, um, trying not to fall asleep, failing occasionally, so that I could just go lights out in the evening and just immediately switch back to normal routine. Um, but I did manage to squeeze a bit more sock knitting in, and this is where I am. So it might not look like much, but then again, I didn't really spend much time kind of doing it, so it probably had like another maybe 5, 6 rows on. But yeah, so that's where I am now. Um, I like how the colours in this yarn aren't consistent in that sense, you know. So you kind of getting a lot of variation in the width of the bands of colour. That's quite cool. You know, like I said, I love a bit of colour in what I wear. And yeah, I'm kind of looking at it and kind of thinking, you know, that kind of looks a bit big for a sock to me. But I did put it up against one of my other socks that I wear, and it's not that far off. I think maybe it's just because of the way it's just all kind of splayed out on the needles. Maybe once it's um, a bit more together, it'll kind of look a bit more normal. Obviously, I can't try it on with these needles on there, can I? It's kind of like health risk in itself, isn't it? But uh, I think it should be okay. I don't think that there's going to be much give in it, but I don't know because I've never done this before. I mean, you know, I can stretch it a bit like that, so there must be some give. You know, I kind of used to kind of get like, you know, those sock subscription things. So I've got plenty of socks upstairs, which, you know, conversely I rarely wear. Um, um, because you know, I again, you know, I'm kind of like dead during the week. Don't have much money to kind of go out and do things, so I tend to stay in. Hence why I've taken up the knitting, you know. But actually, kind of having, you know, more socks, I think, you know, I'm and doing the knitting. I'm thinking, you know, it's just an excuse. Maybe when the weather gets a little better, I might go out and start knitting outside. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? You know, it's usually like when I go out, I kind of go for like a coffee at a place, you know, and you know, have a cigarette or two, maybe more, um, and and just kind of chill there, you know. But you can only smoke so much and drink so much coffee, you know, and then you're kind of like, oh, well, I guess I better head back then, you know. I don't want to wander around shops or anything, you know. But you know, this, you know, I could go sit by the river in this town centre, just knit away and just enjoy being outside because I do love being outside. I love being by the water as well. I'd love to live in like a seaside town or something. Coming from Wales, you know, you're kind of never too far from the coast, so certainly in South Wales. So it was always nice getting out and about, you know. And I lived in Cardiff, used to go down the bay, down to Penarth, places like that, and just chill. But yeah, anyway, getting away from all that. So yeah, so I managed to get this far on here. I think there's about 20 odd rows, 21 rows I've done of the body. I kind of measured it. I think it's about 10 centimeters that I'm aiming for. We'll see how it looks when I get there. 10 centimeters for the body of the sock. I measured how much this is. I think this is about 2.5, 3, something like that, centimeters. So then I've got to do the rest of um, the body in the stockinette. But when I did my calculations, I think I did them on the ribbing, and as you can see, the ribbing is seems bigger than the stockinette in terms of the stitch count. So once I hit the what I calculated as the target rows for the stitch count for the stockinette, I'll remeasure, I think, and see how off it is, and whether I just need to take another gauge from the actual stockinette itself or something and say, okay, I need to add X more amount of rows before starting on the heel part. But yeah, I was really enjoying this. I'm just really into the way that you knit with this now, you know. I have been eyeing up better needles, but I'm not sure obviously which ones are the best. I've seen, like, you know, there's like plastic, aluminium, even ones like carbon or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I'll wait. As long as these kebab sticks keep going, I'll stick with these for now, and I'll only change when I need to. But you know, apart from the, you know, there's like a slight bend appearing in here, because I think it's just like, you know, you kind of more using them, the kind of the bamboos kind of like starting to bend a little in the middle, and yeah. But no, I'm enjoying that. That's gonna be a nice little kind of thing that I kind of like do in between, or if I don't want to just pick up the big massive jumper that I'm about to uh, come back to, then yeah, that'll just be something on the side for now. But yeah, so here we are. So obviously I've got the new needles for the jumper. Let's see if I can. Oh, seem to have picked up my my bag as well. This is I think I probably showed you this, my double knitted bag that I did. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? You know, stick a few. You know, I'm not sure about that end. Look at that, this mess. But at the end of the day, it's like cheap acrylic shit from Aldi or whatever. Little, I can never remember which. Just like stuff more wool in. You know, it's all at the moment. It's all over there on the side, but yeah, I need to get back to crocheting a handle or a strap for this, just so I can pick it up and move it more easily. But yeah, so I've got the jumper again here, and I'm just losing, well, I can lose that, that's the old needle. Let's just stick that in there for now. Put my stitch marker there. Probably lost the other one somewhere. Yep. I'll have to find another one for that. So now I've got to figure out, where's my needle gone? There it is. Now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. I think probably what I'll do is I'll take these and just thread those through before pulling the old one out, so at least the old cable is somewhat holding these stitches in place. There's only a few that I've lost from where the needle snapped. So let's kind of bring you down here a bit. So maybe squeeze into the camera. Right, I'm gonna detach this and then start rethreading through here. Boop. Boop. So I've got my connectors. Yeah, with yeah, it all adds up actually, you know, kind of, I thought, yeah, I'll save money not getting a set, and to be fair, I probably did. But you know, when you're buying things individually, it's like you had to buy I had to buy the needles, I had to buy the cables, and I had to buy the little connector things as well. And this is where I find out that obviously I've bought all the wrong things that don't fit. But it was all the same brand, Knitters Pride, I think they called themselves. And I think what these ones I was looking for as well was obviously, because I think the cables on the cheap needles that I had were fixed, and I was always, like I said, I think like I said before, I was trying to retwist them. They were all getting twisted and stuff, going through the knitting. I specifically looked for, found something that was like they swivel, so hopefully they're not going to get all kind of like twisted up. It's just going to move with whatever tension is causing them to twist when knitting. I'm just taking off these little labours. So I got two 1.5 meter cables, which in theory should be long enough. So I don't think all the cables that I had that I was using even add up to that much. But I thought bigger is always better. Yes, so let's see if I can get them through here now. It's going to be painstaking. If it seems to take too long, I'll freaking speed this up for you. No point you kind of sitting through that. Boop-a-doo. It's not going to be long enough, you know. Oh, 3 meters. What the hell? Found it. Yep, there we go. There's the other, there's the other stitch marker. Yeah. So that is where I've gone in. I've gone all the way around here, all the way around there to here. But I've still got all of that to go. And I've only got this much wire left. Maybe I'm worrying a bit too much. Maybe I'm just not very good at judging these things. It is what it is. Let's see where we end up. It's going to be close. Found the end of the broken cable. See it there. That's where it's frayed off. Makes it tricky though, because I've now got to try and re-find the holes all the way to there. That's how far back it's gone into the knitting. Actually, let's try and attach one of these. Make this bit easier. Now, hopefully, yep, that's it. Get it through the holes. that one. Okay, I'm going to put this on the other end now because I'm getting very close. I don't want to end up with that end popping inside the stitches and having to fish it out. Nearly there. Blimey. How long did that take, did it say? Half an hour. My God. Is this even going to save to my phone? Let me just stop so I can work that out. Okay, so that is saved. So, yeah, so there we go. It did manage to survive all the way through. Yes. It is through. So now, I can start going around again. So I think where I left it, I was going to give it 4 more rows to see if I can get it close enough to be able to join the sleeves. By my measurements, that's what it works out that it should be. But we'll see. So now I can actually start knitting. I can put my glasses back on as well. So yeah, so that's that. So I'm now joined up. I now have knitting needles that hopefully shouldn't break as easily. I think what I'll do is, as I knit, I'll let this old one feed out as I'm going around, rather than trying to drag it through all the holes and stuff. I think, yeah, I was more or less about halfway through when that happened, judging by where my starting ends are. Yeah. So, oh, ow, caught on the wire again. So there's my starting end. And it's got about 3/4 to go. So I'm gonna have to figure out all my stitch markers because they fell off on that somehow. But yeah, I'm good to go. So I'm going to start knitting my jumper again. Just a quick note, dropping back in to say, obviously, I'm knitting like the kind of the little wool, oldie wool, whichever. I still can't remember where I bought it. There's obviously like really cheap acrylic stuff. I think it was like $1.29 a ball. And one thing I found, and one thing I'm going to have to try and address when I kind of go through the finished jumper, is that obviously they come with massive knots like that. Don't know if you can make it out properly. Maybe if I just do that, that's going to be easier. But yeah, it's like massive knots. And then it obviously then kind of leaves big bumps like that in the jumper. So I don't know if maybe I'll look it up or something, but maybe there's a way to like thin it out without necessarily killing the integrity of the jumper, although there's like so much in this, it's so tight. I probably could have used a bigger needle, maybe, I don't know, but I don't think there's any danger of it necessarily unraveling, but hey, I know nothing at the moment, so I think my brain's just kind of like thinking through all these things. But yeah, so yeah, I just came across another one in this and thought, well, I'm guessing that's not common. I'm guessing that's just because it is so cheap. These massive, big, chunky balls. I quite like working with them for doing something quick. Although I'm quite fond of the really fine one as well. To be honest, like with knitting that sock and the other glove that I've got on the back burner as well. But yeah, just because I like the finish of those ones, in that sense. Whereas this is kind of better for just getting something done. Okay, so I'm just about round to the beginning of stitch marker now. Beginning of stitch, beginning of round marker. That's the one. And I've gotten most of the cable out. I'm just on the last bit now. I think it comes to about here, so I'm just going to try and pull that out from here. Oh, even less. There we go. So that is the old cable fully removed. Now, which one was it that was done for? So that's the frayed end on there, and it's only that much, so it's not much. It's one of the shorter ones, so I can probably just bin that. And then I've got these two then to continue with, so they'll be, I can still use those for other things, although maybe not something as hefty as this. I think the chunkiness of this wool, I think it's made it really stiff to knit at times. I think that's possibly what's helped or not helped with the tension on that cable. Hopefully that doesn't do the same to this new one. I'm hoping the swivel thing will help cope with that. But yeah, so now I've done one row of the 4 that I needed to, so now I can carry on with my new needles. Yeah, I'll come back when I've done the next 3 rows. So I've got 1 increase, 1 regular, 1 increase round to do. And that will be it. So I'm just checking, sorry, I'm just checking my stitching. So obviously my stitch markers for the sleeves came out, so I think it's that raglan stitch there that's the one that's missing. It's markers. I've gone round and everything else is there, so just need to remember when I get to this bit, I've pulled the cable out to help as a reminder that I need to put the stitch markers back in there. I mean, I won't need them for much longer, hopefully. I can just kind of bang on with doing the rest of the body once I can close off those sleeves. Yeah. So I will do that, and hopefully see you when I've made more progress.